What up? What up? Welcome back to an episode of Ministry Truth. I am your number one host on this show, and I gave Sam about as much time as I thought he could use, and now it's back to me. I was totally going to go live about an hour ago, but then I saw, he already had it out there, and I'm like, you know what? Let me give him a couple minutes. And then I started falling asleep, and then I started hearing him. He's got some good messages. Just not for me, man. Not for me. Because I just want to fuck around and find out. I'm just kidding. I don't want to fuck around and find out. I mean, actually, I do. If anybody wants to challenge that, because I'm totally around fucking around and finding out. But good morning, Bat Mom. Wait, is it Matt? Good afternoon, Bat Mom. Good afternoon, Zippity, and good afternoon, Dominique. How are all three of you doing this fine afternoon? Good to see y'all. Before we get into anything, since we did have Mike Tyson show up and participate in a sparring match, let's play one of his songs to play us in this morning. Back again. I forgot how long the intro was. Yeah, it's a $20 million payday. What do you got? Although I will say, the fight they had prior to that one, way fucking better. Tell you, those two females left it out, and I feel like Serrano got ripped up, cheated, because she should have won that fight, and she's a fucking beast for a little 21 pound flyweight. She went up 3 classes to whoop that bitch's ass, and all that bitch could do was headbutt. Pretty much. If that was a 12-round fight, that bitch would have been done because she was already dragging. Well, if you listened to his interview last night, he was talking about, how his kids are going to be like, yeah, dad did this. Well, pretty sure his kids are grown. For $20 million, I mean, I'd fight Jake Paul for $20 million. Mike Tyson kind of took that Forrest Griffin way of fighting. Just keep blocking punches with your face. Because it's pretty much what he was doing. Although I will have to say, that fight was lame. I expected more, but then I realized they're also heavyweights. And one heavyweight was 31 years older, or 20-something years older. That makes it fair, right? Come on, bro. Come on. Tyson's 58 fucking years old. Oh, you know what, Dom? I'd fight you for free. Especially if you're like 5'1" below. I'll fight you for free. All I gotta do is hold you back. Bro, hold me back. Hold me back. Hold my poodle. No. All right. So my initial intent today was going to go over, shit that I've been putting in my save till tomorrow folder. Some of it I looked at, some of it I didn't. And, well, fuck you. So, I hope you're here ready for some light-hearted commentary where I don't say any profanities and I don't say any faggot jokes. I won't say faggot, I won't say faggot, and I won't say faggot. All right, so we're good on that, right? Understand, we're not supposed to say faggot in the stream, all right? Now, this is the incoming Director of National Intelligence.
When we had our first memorial service in Iraq back in 2005. Some of my fellow soldiers who are part of the brigade are here and can appreciate that experience. When we had hundreds of soldiers from the Hawaii.
Are you Mexican, Dominic? Didn't think you were Mexican. Thought you were something else. But if that's the case, all right, Beaner, you got it?
The Army National Guard's 29th Brigade Combat Team gathered in a memorial service. We paid our respects to the empty boots, the empty helmet, and the rifle, representing one of our friends who had passed. And we stood at attention as the first sergeant started calling roll. As he called out names of individuals within his unit,
roll call
soldiers stood up.
Fucking painful, man.
He said, "Here, First Sergeant," name by name. And the First Sergeant called Specialist Cariaga, followed by silence. He called again. Specialist Dyson Cariaga. Silence. And as he called for the last time, Specialist Dyson K. Cariaga. All of us were snapped when we heard the rifle salute, because Specialist Cariaga was no longer with us. So on this day, we're sad because we miss our friends. But we also take this opportunity to strengthen our resolve as we celebrate the lives that they lived and their sacrifice, who they were, their strength, their courage, and their deep love for our country. Our resolve is strengthened as we honor them. We honor their memory. We seek to make them proud and to make sure that every single day their memories are not lost and their sacrifice is remembered. We remember that along with the blessing that we have to have come home, we carry a heavy responsibility. Whether those of us who are veterans or those of us who are here as civilians, this responsibility that we share and carry is one to honor those who have paid that ultimate price and made that ultimate sacrifice. As we gather in places with hallowed ground like this, paying tribute to our fallen comrades, we hear noise coming from politicians that sounds a little bit like gratitude, followed by a slashing of benefits for our service members and their families, with veterans young and old languishing as they are told to wait months to receive care. Some will say that we need to be patient, that these things take time. Would that be your response if it was your son or daughter who had been blown up by an IED and who was told upon coming home to wait 6 months to see a doctor? Would that be your response if it was your father who's dying from cancer, awaiting that elusive appointment to get treatment? I think not. Yet this is what's happening right now to our family, our brothers and sisters. So yes, this makes me angry because it is personal. This is our family, and this neglect of our brothers and sisters dishonors their sacrifice. So, on days like today, we strengthen our resolve. We understand that we must lead by example. We must hold leaders accountable. We must honor the memories of our brothers and sisters who never made it home. We must fight for them, fight for those who are here and in need, understanding that the warrior ethos that have been ingrained in our souls and the core of our being are as relevant today as they always have been. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. And I will never leave a fallen comrade.
Warrior ethos.
We will never leave a fallen comrade. We will not neglect those who are injured, sick, or in need. So as we reflect here today on the specialness of this place and the courage of these people, let us strengthen our resolve to make it so that this day and every day, we seize the opportunity to honor our friends, to fight for them, taking advantage of the time and the blessing of health and life that each of us has been granted, by making a positive impact on those around us, standing up and standing together and taking action. Mahalo nui loa. Thank you very much.
That gave me chills, man. Oh. That was definitely a life worth of experiences that I've had, and it's, I don't know. At least I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. Just wish more this bureaucracy would go away. That's not why we're here, though. All right, this next one, like I said, it's a bunch of mashups of shit that I was putting together. And obviously, some's politics, some's not, and it just skipped to... What the fuck? Oh, it's still on shuffle, motherfucker. Get. All right. Why is it on mute? Now we're going to talk about the Secretary of Defense, or the incoming Secretary of Defense, who everybody says is racist. Definitely not a racist. Pete was actually infantry, and infantrymen get tattoos. I don't know if you know this. When they have a ton of tattoos, probably means we're crazy. Or it was like our therapy, release the bloodletting. So when I saw Pete's name show up, I got kind of like perked up a little bit. Not like a boner type perked up. But I was like, wait a second, this guy's a soldier. This guy doesn't know what it's like to be a fucking bureaucrat in Washington. Because once you pretty much become a lieutenant colonel, or above, you're no longer in the military. I mean, you're in the military, but at that point, you're like a politician. You do things so you can move up. Like the lieutenant colonels, they will kiss generals' asses to get that bird, the colonel bird. And if you're a colonel, you're going to kiss ass till you get that fucking star, because once you get that star, you're pretty much golden. So when it comes to generals, sorry, bud.
an extremist because of a tattoo by my National Guard unit in Washington, D.C. And my orders were revoked to guard the Biden inauguration. Jerusalem cross tattoo, which is just a Christian symbol.
Is that
this is the one.
Is that the tattoo?
Yep, right here. This one is what got me disinvited. I'd never had orders revoked before. I mean, listen, it's a standard deal. You remember after January 6th, everyone was in Washington, D.C. Like Nancy Pelosi had the parking garages full of National Guard. The commander called me a day before tepidly and was like, Major, you can just stand down. We don't need you. We're good. I'm like, what do you mean? Everybody's there. He's like, no, he couldn't tell me. When I was writing the book, I reached out to somebody in the unit who could confirm with 99.9% certainty because he was in the meetings and on the emails. Nope. Someone inside the DC Guard trolled your social media, found a tattoo, used it as an excuse to call you a white nationalist, an extremist. And you were specifically by name orders revoked to guard the inauguration.
Wow. That's Pete Hegseth, our presumably new Secretary of Defense. And I never heard that story before. But only in America, up till this point, are you not an extremist if you are into BDSM animal cosplay openly in the military, but you are considered an extremist unfit for duty if you have a Jerusalem cross tattoo. Well, Pete, you're in good company. I too have a Jerusalem cross tattoo. I got this in Jerusalem from the Razzouk family that's been operational since the year 1300, and I am very proud to wear my faith on my sleeve. Everybody freaking out and breathing in a bag over how this guy, who by the way was in the military for 20 years, was previously vetted to be the VA secretary and ran 2 veterans nonprofits, received the Bronze Star twice. The fact that he's an outsider from military contractors and isn't a board member to Lockheed Martin is kind of the whole point. And this story makes it even better. Any predictions for who we'll see next in the Trump cabinet?
Okay, yesterday we did somewhat of a review on Pete Hegseth. I believe this. I can't even get this man's last name right.
There's more. I just wanted to play that part. So now the Democrats have undoubtedly lost the presidential election, as well as House and Senate. Are they talking about the election being stolen? Is that still a thing?
Donald Trump winning every single swing state and the popular vote. Republicans taking the Senate, will likely take the House. But former DNC chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz does not think this was a red wave election.
Oh, yeah.
This was not the wave election that the majority.
That's what she talked about. All right. This red wave that she says that didn't happen. Which election, which country was she watching? Because the election I was watching, that red wave definitely came. And it wasn't just a wave. It was a fucking tsunami. Right? You thought fucking North Carolina had it bad. Now the entire country was flooded with red.
Majority is that the majority of the media is portraying. Voters had a Trump on the ballot the last 3 elections. We had a very short presidential campaign with our nominee, and there were a lot of other issues as well.
So how was that cheating?
Beverly Hallberg is the president of District Media Group and a fellow at the Independent Women's Forum, and she joins me now. Beverly, good morning to you. So what do you think about that comment?
Good morning. Well, yeah, there are a lot of issues. That's where I would agree with the Congresswoman. But the fact that she thinks, and she even mentioned this, that the media landscape is too diffused, and that's part of the problem. What a lot of Democrats are pointing to, other than just the Democrat Party or Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi, is actually pointing out the media. And what they're actually saying is that Americans should only be able to view legacy media that Democrats are obviously in charge of. She talked about podcasts. Well, the reality is that Joe Rogan invited Kamala Harris on the podcast, and she decided not to go on. I think one of the things we're taking from this from a media perspective is the reason there was this red wave is because Americans are not buying what legacy media is selling, and that's what Democrats need to focus on.
I think you're 100% right there, but bigger picture, broaden this out for a second. If Democrats continue, like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Nancy Pelosi, to be naive as to the 2 reasons why Kamala Harris lost, the economy and the border, doesn't that really bode well for Republicans come 2026?
Oh, yeah. If Democrats don't actually take a hard look at themselves and figure out what went wrong,
some of them are.
This is going to continue to happen. And part of that is
like
they have
good old
focused
AOC
on
with all this, gender shit. She took her pronouns off her ex account. And apparently that pissed people off. Is she selling out? No. She's smart. She knows why they lost.
identity politics, and they have not focused on immigration, the border, real issues such as inflation and the cost of goods, cost of items. If they don't hone into that, they're definitely going to lose. And there's another part of this. They also need to look at the fact that their candidates need to be able to sell a message and answer tough questions. The fact that Kamala Harris couldn't answer the most basic of questions shows that these candidates often aren't challenged. And so they need to get used to a curious intermediate environment. They need to be able to answer questions, because if they don't, the American people are not going to vote for them anymore. Like I said, there's a lot of introspection that needs to happen.
Yeah, speaking of introspection, we've seen the clips. There were many members of the media who said insulting things about Trump supporters ahead of the election, and it backfired. And now actress Patricia Heaton, she's highlighting that and responding. Watch this.
All these extremists that are allowed television time, who told women that this is what is going to happen to them. Shame on you. Shame on you. Learn your lesson about smearing people who feel differently from you, who have different needs from you, and who have legitimate complaints. Quit dismissing them as uneducated.
All right, guys, what do you think? Should I put a red curtain behind me?
When are you going to learn?
Do you think the media is going to take that advice?
Well, we'll find out and see. I will say that when we talk about women, and we've seen a lot of women shaving their heads, I think it's quite interesting that they decide to record that and post it on social media. If they were that afraid for their rights, I don't think they would be putting it out for public consumption. But another side of this, I think she hits on a really important part when she says uneducated voters. That's what we continue to hear. We're talking about voters who don't have college degrees, but these voters are very educated, often working in the trades. I even think about COVID. It was the people working in blue-collar jobs who actually kept this country going. Democrats are going to have to view blue-collar workers, those who work in the trades and skills, very differently. If we continue to look at them as being ignorant and uneducated, of course, that voter is not going to go for the Democrat Party.
Interesting stuff all around. Beverly Hall.
Feel attacked. She called me ignorant and stupid. Sorry. All right. So this is Decoy Voice. I love his stuff sometimes because he's very, very Asian. No? But he talks like me. There's another guy out there that talks like me. I don't know what fucking dude it is.
Government spending is taxation. Your money is being wasted.
And it is.
The Department of Government Efficiency is going to fix that.
Start with zero as the baseline for the budget and then see what's actually necessary. The federal government doesn't do it, but successful companies, including the ones that I've built as a CEO, will do it.
And after Donald Trump has won the presidency once again, these two gentlemen will now run the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, as Trump calls it, the Manhattan Project of our time. And for victims of the public school system like me, the Manhattan Project is what developed the first atomic bombs in World War II. And now Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will figure out how our government wastes over $6.5 trillion every year, making a small...
Wait, so we're 33, pretty sure it's 37 now, trillion in debt, but we have 6.3 in debt. That wasteful spending, fraud, waste, and abuse. And it's huge. I know for a fact there's fraud, waste, and abuse at the end of every fiscal year because I used to be part of it. The military's like, hey, you've got this much money to spend by September 1st. Spend it. Gotcha. Oh, I could use some Oakley glasses. We could use some new aid bags. You know, all that kind of shit. So yeah, we waste it.
The government by 2026, as our government is notorious for frivolous spending.
Because it's Hamilton. Duh. Is it in Denver? That could be another reason why. Is it short notice? Hamilton came here to Nashville, but I think it was during 2020, so there wasn't really any ability to go watch it.
Whether or not if you gave gin to a sunfish versus tequila, which would make the sunfish more aggressive? Nearly $1 million spent studying whether or not Japanese quail, if you give them cocaine, whether or not they're more sexually promiscuous.
Don't forget
And
the
that's not the
transgender
only
monkeys.
thing, as Senator Rand Paul has called out spending millions of our tax dollars for tourism in Egypt, buying the
$6 million for tourism in Egypt. Are any of us going to go over there to be able to? No.
DOD lobster tank, and the hundreds of millions that went to singers like Post Malone and Chris Brown, as our national debt will soon surpass $36 trillion. Meanwhile, Dogecoin is shooting to the moon. Now that's not financial advice and nearly irrelevant to the—
Hey, I'm not going to lie. My youngest daughter, she was obsessed with Hamilton. I'm glad she was, because that made her interested in actual history. Yo, that's like paying for a football game almost here, Dom. Three for 1,000. If it was the original cast, worth it. I don't even know who the cast is now.
the topic, other than the fact that without Elon and Vivek getting to run Doge, at some point Dogecoin would probably surpass the US dollar in terms of
Plus,
value. And I
Lin-Manuel
say that
Miranda,
knowing full well
he writes a lot of music that most people wouldn't know. Like some Disney movies.
Dogecoin is a joke that puts far too many coins in circulation to ever attain Bitcoin levels of value. But that's basically what our government was going to do with the US dollar. And knowing all this, Swamp Creature senators still want to call out the so-called inefficiency of having more than one person running an organization. As Vivek replies, they have no idea what's coming.
What they don't know is that it's a self-destruct. It's got a self-destruct. So when it's run through its course, it no longer exists.
We're only a few days into a Trump administration that doesn't even start for months, and already there are many names that most Americans simply never heard of. So I want to briefly introduce some of these people that I'm psyched about, somewhat skeptical of, and actually angry over. And I do understand, a short, concise cut of who these people are isn't the best way to decide who you support, as I could easily show you 20 clips of Shohei Ohtani striking out to make you think he's terrible, or 20 pics of Peyton Pritchard draining half-court shots to make you think he's a classier version of Steph Curry. But hopefully this will give you a preview of who these people truly are, as I think Trump's cabinet is about to put a huge chunk of the swamp in DC on EBT, so hopefully they've saved their money. That's why it's great we have the sponsor for today's video for anyone's minimum crew. So make your plan /decoy voice director Tom Homan to replace Kamala as our new border czar. And like many of us, we haven't heard the name Homan before, but we have seen him in action.
And so the recommendation of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
They came here legally.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
That's just the perfect encapsulation of government bureaucrat versus someone that actually did the job function, where AOC knows all the buzzwords and key phrases to get her point across to other congresspeople, but Homan actually knows what it is to be out there in the field. And having someone that knows the long-lasting effects of what Washington says makes me confident we will finally have someone actually taking care of our borders.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is it worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
And just like when the Democrats cried over the cost of Trump's border wall, then turning around spending tenfold on the effects of not having said border wall, 60 Minutes has the audacity to complain about cost when it comes to the safety of the American people. And I really love how Homan approaches bad press, as he embodies what Florida Governor Ron DeSantis ran on during his presidential campaign, saying, "I'm going to do unpopular things in the media, but I'm willing to take the hits in the public eye in order to make you safer," as deporting entire families sounds insensitive, especially when eventually the Democrat-run media gets the footage, the headline behind Homan's deportations. But Homan doesn't strike me as someone who cares what anybody thinks, as long as he knows, long run, this is going to be a net positive. Of course, the optics of a secure border and enforcing citizenship laws will look terrible, but not as terrible as the alternative of the woman being trafficked into our cities, currently selling themselves, and the hundreds of thousands of missing kids. And you only get that type of wisdom if, like Tom Homan, you worked in the field seeing it firsthand. Meanwhile, these politicians were running fundraisers for their re-election campaigns, completely oblivious to the real damage their decisions in DC made. Now, Trump has appointed another person that likely isn't a household name, naming Pete Hegseth as his Secretary of Defense. Getting degrees from Princeton and Harvard, serving in combat in both Iraq and Afghanistan, and earning 2 Bronze Stars. But like Homan,
Sounds pretty
Hegseth calls
qualified
it how
to
he
me.
sees it.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. It hasn't made us more effective, hasn't made us more lethal, has made fighting more complicated.
So the mainstream media made sure to portray him negatively as possible.
Is this the guy who's qualified to make decisions about the most powerful military in the world, who clearly does not know anything about the military?
You know, and also I
Yeah,
feel
he should be
insulted.
no
I'm a
good.
morning TV host, and I've been here the longest.
Yes.
Where's my ambassadorship to Italy, Donald?
What have you done for
Something I
Italy?
said?
Beyond what he's saying just about women,
And they keep harping on the idea that he's a Fox News host, trying to compare their experience on TV as valid reasons to receive cabinet positions, which genuinely makes me wonder, are they purposely misrepresenting Hegseth's experience to mislead their audience into thinking Trump's picks are stupid? Or are they themselves this stupid, not knowing that he got this pick due to his military history and not TV appearances? As Hegseth clearly sees what's wrong with our military.
The deeper question is, how did the military allow itself to go woke? The dumbest phrase on planet Earth in the military is our diversity is our strength. China's building an army specifically dedicated.
It used to be, we're all one color. We're all green. That's the way the army used to be. Then you started getting sensitive ass motherfuckers who wanted to go, "That's racism. This is racism." No, motherfucker, majority of all mechanics are black. Of course I thought you were a mechanic. Fuck you.
To defeating the United States of America. That is their strategic outset. Take hypersonic missiles. So if our whole power projection platform is aircraft carriers and the ability to project power that way strategically around the globe. And yeah, we have a nuclear triad and all of that, but a big part
bracelet,
of it,
bro.
And if, 15 hypersonic missiles can take out our 10 aircraft carriers in the first 20 minutes of a conflict, what does that look like?
See, now,
So like Homan,
now to see a Secretary of Defense wearing this bracelet, that means, he was there. He was actually in the shit, not being a general in the backside watching from a hill.
20 minutes of a conflict. What does that look like?
So like Homan, I couldn't care less what the media has to say about Hegseth, as he seems to be the ideal candidate to take on what's currently ailing America. And the mainstream media's disapproval of him almost makes me like him more, as at this point, if CNN and The View were singing his praises, we'd suddenly be suspicious of him. The same with Donald Trump's choice in Attorney General, which out of nowhere is Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who has long been saying we need to fix the DOJ.
Why is it that the women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions? Nobody wants to impregnate you.
Somebody sent me a story on him that a 17-year-old came forward. That was a few years ago. She didn't just come forward. And if I remember right, she lied about her age. Not saying it was right, but I think it was like a setup, or was a. I have to go back because this isn't recent. This is a while back. At least I feel like it's been a while back because I've heard of it before today and yesterday and the day before. That's one of the reasons I didn't like him.
Like a thumb.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Be offended.
So needless to say, CNN isn't a fan of Matt Gaetz becoming the AG.
This is a crazy pick. This is a dangerous pick. I wish there was a gentler way to say it, but
However,
there's no use mincing.
When I see liberals and politicians saying this guy's a dangerous pick, this guy's a dangerous pick. Donald Trump was a dangerous pick. Why don't you want dangerous picks? Was it Yuzep? I could have sworn. Maybe I got more than one. But yeah, like I said, that's not new. I knew that was coming. I just thought the case was already finished.
Words. I was a prosecutor.
As Gaetz is a wild card that has no qualms in tearing it all down.
We either get this government back on our side or we defund and get rid of, abolish the FBI, CDC, ATF, DOJ, every last one of them if they do not come to heel.
I like his passion.
Gaetz was the guy that actually tried to abolish the ATF back in 2023. Now, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance did say Gaetz prosecuted his political opponents and went after parents peacefully protesting their school board. Oh no, that's the current AG. So it's basically addition by subtraction. These might not be the most conventional picks, but at this point, that's probably what we need. And the more they're willing to say whatever's on their mind, no matter the backlash, makes me think they're actually willing to do the job, instead of carefully guarding their image to not dare offend the media, sacrificing America in the meantime. And for the Director of National Intelligence, Donald Trump just appointed former Congresswoman, Lieutenant Colonel, and what I consider Democrat presidential frontrunner, Tulsi Gabbard, citing her service in our military, Homeland Security, and Foreign Affairs committees while in Congress. Now, many people know her from when she absolutely destroyed Kamala's presidential ambitions in 2020.
She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana.
They were making her hide her gray stripe.
She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
You do know what's funny? She deployed in 2021. Huh.
But more importantly, she is not afraid to speak her mind.
There are 25 to 30 U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine.
According
to the U.S. government, these biolabs are conducting research on dangerous pathogens.
And I talked about how dangerous Kamala Harris would be as our president and commander-in-chief.
That's what it was all about.
I was added to a secret domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies.
So the woman that was on watch lists will now oversee all military intelligence, the NSA.
Wait, if she gets in charge, that mean my fucking thing can come off?
CIA, and basically anybody going after her before. Now, many others were concerned over her appointment, as she was a Democrat just a few months ago. But honestly, I think this is a good move. Besides the fact that Tulsi is objectively an amazing person and exactly who we need heading our agencies. But the idea that Trump appointed a liberal into his cabinet just solidifies that this is the party of the people, especially when Republicans like Liz Cheney and Mitt Romney are leaving to join what is now the party of the establishment. Now on to picks that people are wary of, as Senator Marco Rubio has been chosen to be his Secretary of State. Someone who Trump himself once called a total lightweight, that he wouldn't hire to run one of his smaller companies, and he is a overrated politician. As in 2020, he voluntarily posted how he couldn't bear watch himself getting a shot, but might not tell his full story.
Senator Rubio, will you call for ceasefire?
No, I will not. On the contrary.
Rubio,
Are you filming it? So I want you guys to get this. I want them to destroy every element of Hamas they can get their hands on. These people are vicious animals who did horrifying crimes. And I hope you guys post that.
And what about the civilians that are being killed every day?
Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians.
So do we like warmongers? Absolutely not. But we can appreciate someone in politics that's absolutely unapologetic about their stances, shoving it down the faces of anyone trying to shame them into changing their minds. And although this is a confusing and possibly disappointing pick, I would just like to hope that Trump has seen a side of him that we haven't. And even if he turns into a terrible pick, this time around Trump will be quick to return to his roots.
They will be fired, like on The Apprentice.
Well, I know, because I know Hillary Clinton, that was her original thing, was saying she was a Russian spy or a Russian asset. I didn't know AOC just repeated it.
You're fired.
And there's plenty of other picks like Governor Kristi Noem, notorious for popping her puppy, now heading our Department of Homeland Security. But who I really want to talk about is who could potentially run the FBI. Rumored to be Kash Patel.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers. And and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government.
Which, for all I know, somebody else could be announced
Starting
by
to
the
look
time I
like
edit
this
it.
administration could literally be the party of the people.
Release this video, but the common theme I'm seeing in the mentality of Trump's picks are smaller, more goal-oriented government agencies. There's a whole lot of bloat in DC, and the only people desperately trying to protect it are the same exact people that probably don't serve a real purpose, as I really believe you could replace the entire DC press apparatus with this channel, Decoy Voice, communicating whatever's going on over there quickly and concise, but with lighthearted language, as Americans are tired of being lied to by dudes in suits on television.
I'm totally gonna start calling myself.
We keep having this messaging.
Next. So you guys remember FEMA saying, hey, this lady named Marnie Wash, I don't remember her last name. It doesn't really fucking matter at this point. Sending messages to her employees saying if they have Trump markings, flags, or anything like that, go past them. They don't need help. Well, apparently she came out, whether or not it's true, is saying that that message actually didn't come from me. It came from higher. Not God, but higher. I don't know what's higher than God, but if there was, it'd probably be me.
Coming out of these agencies, especially during the Biden-Harris administration, that, you know, there's nothing to see here. With regards to FEMA, they are being now presented with evidence that they were treating people differently based on their partisan views. That is an incredible discovery in the United States of America. And so, of course, you're going to have an investigation. We're not going to wait.
Well, FEMA insisting that the case of an agency supervisor telling relief workers to avoid Trump campaign signs at homes during disaster response is an isolated incident. Let's bring in the FEMA official who was fired over the incident, but claims she has been made a scapegoat. Marnie Washington. Marnie, thank you so much for coming on. I want to read this because this is from the FEMA administrator, Deanne Criswell. She said this, and she's talking about you. She said, quoting here, recently, a FEMA employee departed from these values to advise her survivor assistance team to not go to homes with yard signs supporting President-elect Trump. This was reprehensible. I want to be clear to all of my employees and the American people, this type of behavior and action will not be tolerated at FEMA. You say this is not your policy. You're not political. You don't care about the right or the left. You are simply doing your job and following your orders. So you're telling me these orders came from somebody above.
Correct. When I first reported to Florida, I was already on another team. I was there as a specialist. This was the culture. They were already avoiding these homes based on community trends from hostile political encounters. It has nothing to do with the campaign sign. It just so happened to be part of the community trend. When you focus in on the campaign sign, you are violating the Hatch Act.
You called her a war hawk,
that is something that FEMA definitely wants to stay away from because it was created in 1939, and that was to protect citizens from being alienated based on their political stance.
So just so we're clear, you're saying that basically FEMA was doing this out of safety. They were doing that safe because they had some adversarial conflicts with some people with Trump signs in their front yards. So they banned every Trump sign. They said, don't go to any homes with Trump signs. And if that's the case.
So this story's an exclusive, right? According to the bottom of the screen. Why did she only go to Fox News? What's up, Control? Fox News got the exclusive on this? Is it a real story now?
Why would they come down so hard on you? Why are you the scapegoat? Why are you the one they're saying was, quote, reprehensible for actually putting this in place when you did not put this in place?
What's reprehensible is they're not being transparent. Why is this coming down on me? I am the person that jotted down the notes from my superiors, and my notation in Teams chat was exposed from their surge capacity team. That's exactly what happened, and it's easy to then say, well, haha, it's her name, it's her writing.
Right.
Make her accountable for it. But I'm just simply executing, again, what was coming down from my superiors.
Right. And I'm wondering, because it says things like when on this list that says avoid the Trump houses, drink water, take rest breaks. So there's a list of things. You didn't come up with those either,
No.
right?
No.
So you didn't come up with any of this list. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, sir.
And I'm wondering, how do you prove that, Marnie? You're trying to save your reputation. How do you prove that this order came from above?
Well, the last time that question was posed, I verbally called on all DSA crew leads and specialists that are still active with FEMA and former to come forward and discuss our avoidance policies, our de-escalation policies. Because to be honest with you, we don't just I know the highlight here is the Trump campaign signage, but if someone is in another, like an urban community, and it's a different culture and someone feels uncomfortable, we can't go to that home. If you have loose dogs and someone on the team is comfortable with dogs and another person is not, we can't go to that home because of safety precautions.
So you feared the Trump houses. The people on FEMA were fearing the Trump houses like they were fearing people with vicious dogs in their backyard.
Exactly, and that's based on the trends. You can ask FEMA for incident reports. They have those because they ask us to report out if there's an incident at home. And unfortunately, again, the passionate supporters for Trump, some of them were a little bit violent.
But all of them were painted with the same broad
they just
brush.
lost
All
their
of them
shit.
as being, we're not going to go near these because we think they're all bad people.
No, because some were registered. Some did receive case inquiries and updates.
Yeah.
Some of them came outside and said, "Hi, I appreciate what you're doing. I would like to participate." And then some were very vocal and firm that they didn't want anything to do with FEMA, and they thought that we were crooks.
And lastly, we've got to go. We're running out of time here. Did this also happen in other places? This was Florida, but did it happen in North Carolina? Did it happen in other places?
Georgia as well. Just ask the crew leads and the specialists. They will discuss their avoidance and their de-escalation methods in the field.
Okay.
And I think Ms. Criswell would be happy to know what's going on, truly.
Marnie, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
You know, I have still yet to see anyone come out in support of what she said so far. I'm still wondering, like, hey, what we're doing is wrong. Why don't we just fucking show the world, the rest of the United States, rest of people, hey, this literally came from above. Not from above. Well, we gone over this because I'm the top and I said nothing about this, so it had to be somebody below me. But it's like 50-50 on that story. I honestly believe it happened because she says it happened. But why? They have incident reports, right? Pretty sure you can FOIA those. I don't have the money, of course. I mean, I'm just from a working class family, and I didn't get to grow up with a mom that was a fucking scientist for MK Ultra. But you know what I do know are black people racist? Anyway, what better group to talk to with a group of my favorite black people? I mean, they're not my favorite, except for maybe Molly and Jared.
Everyone has their own racist tendencies. Everyone.
Oh my God!
I got to say, I might not agree with this. You know when we will get over? Let him run.
The nigga down the bottom right. This dude was in the army 13 years. Right? Typically, if you get to around 13 years, you like, fuck it, I only got 7 more years to retirement, and people will just do it. Now, shitty people that look like him, they probably were told to get out or were kicked out. Because at year 13, you know what I was thinking? Oh, I was in Iraq. I don't really know what I was thinking. But still. And I've seen plenty of this guy's kind. I know for a fact he's racist. And a lot of times they won't hide it.
Racism, You know when we will? When everybody admits they're a little racist.
No.
Everybody.
No.
You would never eradicate.
You're being prejudiced,
You had
not
a question for
racist.
me. I promise you I was going to answer your question.
Everyone's prejudiced.
It doesn't even matter now.
You don't got no
Have you ever lived overseas? Let me do that. Have you ever lived overseas?
Of course I haven't lived overseas.
I've lived in a few countries.
The least racism I've ever experienced in my entire life was in Mannheim, Germany, not in America. The most racism I've ever experienced in my life is in Austin, Texas. I'm telling you right now, factually. And you would think
I lived in Vilsig, Germany for 2 years. For 2 years, and I never experienced racism in Europe. The only issue they had was that I was American. That was the only issue that they had, was that they don't like America.
Especially if they're Turkish.
A lot of overseas countries, they don't deal with racism. They deal with colorism. Like it's a little different. We can't compare overseas.
Although
but
there
I don't
are
think blacks
skinheads
can
in
be
places
racist.
like Germany
We can
and
be
Russia.
prejudiced.
Because
if you look at the definition, let me read the definition. It's a discrimination recognized by an individual, community, or an institution against or a person of people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority.
But by your definition, we just had an episode of black racism with the lady from FEMA. By your definition,
how does this tie in?
Thank you,
man. I'm fucking good.
She was being racist towards anybody who had Trump signs in their yard. She wouldn't give them any any help. So that's a black person. And that's racism. So yes, black people can be racist too.
Everybody can be racist.
Yeah, can we stop acting like black people don't have power anymore? How many times do you see you watch legacy media and a black person can say whatever they want about white people, about Latinos, about whatever, and nobody says anything, but yet let a white person say something about a black person and it's it. That's it. They get fired, they're getting canceled, right? But that's my point. So my point is black people have, if we're being real, black people have more power than they probably ever have over white people, especially if you're a white man. Especially if you're a white man. I literally saw a video of a man saying that he's teaching his kids to not trust white people. So the white journalist said, so would it be okay if I taught my son not to trust black people? Is that okay? And no, it's never okay. Let's stop acting like black people have no power. Let's stop acting like if a black person says something, they will let it slide. Because Joy Reid is one of the most racist people I've ever seen on TV, yet they still letting her talk. So let's stop acting like black people have.
He says whatever the fuck she wants.
Black people don't have power because they definitely do.
Crystal,
they definitely do.
You have a point, Crystal, but it's black men don't have that power. Black women can do that. Black men can't say that. We can say
the black men. Yes, the black men don't have that power because they let black women speak for them. The black women are the masculine ones in your community. So that's the problem.
Well,
y'all gotta fix that between your women. That has nothing to do with everybody else. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Right. That's what I'm saying, bro.
Oh, wait a minute, Robert. You don't think that black people can be racist?
No, we can be prejudiced. You have no power, bro. Even the FEMA thing she's talking about, that doesn't count. You don't have power to stop anybody.
You almost said prejudice. You almost said it.
We don't have power over shit.
So what about Letitia James over in New York?
She has a higher power over her. She doing about
wait a minute.
Yeah, Mayor Adams.
You telling me her going after a former president is no power?
She has the power behind her to do that. She just can't do it by herself. Is what I'm
do you
getting
mean? She did it by herself.
No, it's a collective thing, bro.
No,
she can't
they told
her.
Woman, so wait a minute. So Fonnie Willis down there in Fulton County, Georgia, she don't have no power either?
She ain't stopping nothing. You see she got in trouble. She finna be out of here.
We have a lot of black mayors. We have a lot of black chief of police.
No, hold on. She just got reelected.
Yeah, that reelection
didn't Young Thug just get out? So what power she got?
What do you mean? That was between the judge, but her prosecuting the case, and more importantly, it's not even her. She was prosecuting Trump in order to prevent.
Oh, hey, what's up,
Stabby?
Sorry, I was looking.
And she didn't stop anything, bro. She didn't stop him. She didn't win.
Well, I just want to say the people at Disney.
We have a woman who y'all say is a black woman that was just running for president of the United States of America.
She's not. She's Irish and Hindu.
She's mixed. What was happening at the border? That control.
I did watch Adams on the View.
The president over the Senate.
All right, let me see if that's on here. I did not. I think I might have taken it out. Yeah, I think I took it out. They were trying to bait him, and he was like, I ain't having that shit.
It was a tie-breaking
Almost like
vote
he was,
more than any.
if I say something bad, and Trump's going to fucking probably not help me out. Kind of like Brandon Johnson in Chicago.
Other vice president in history, and she had no power whatsoever.
She had power and influence.
Yep.
And she was racist.
You serious?
She
What influence
stereotyped
she
the
have?
shit out of black people.
What influence
Jesus
she have?
Christ.
She just got swept.
She had the ear of the president. She's the vice president. She was president of the Senate. Her tie-breaking vote is the reason why we're in the mess that we're in now.
But
That's
the point
pretty
again is,
influence.
I'm talking about look. She's still a collective. There's nothing a black person can do singly. They can harm. They can change anybody.
Nobody can do
Hispanic,
anything singly. Nobody
What?
can do anything singly.
What's the whole point? Okay, look. Show me a black
Everybody
version.
has the
Show
boss.
me a black version of Karen.
Of who?
Of a
Fannie
Karen.
Willis.
Who is
No,
Karen?
man, it was a judge. They said, show me a regular person who got the same power. That could be.
Jamisha.
Everybody on social
No.
media.
Fucking
Okay.
Jamisha.
Every liberal on
Jamisha.
social media.
No, you know who
Hey, what's
Karen
up?
is? Karen don't like black people. Jamisha's
Jamisha.
No,
Every
she's
liberal
okay
on
with black
social media.
people.
Joy Reid.
That's a lot for you.
Every liberal on social media.
Yeah.
Do you really think?
Oh, Sonny
All you
Hostin.
gotta
There you
do-
go. Sonny
all you
Hostin on
gotta
the View.
do-
What do I
Whoopi
have?
Goldberg on the View. There we
all
go.
you gotta
Women
do
have no power.
is go down the wrong path on TikTok, and you will see a flood of them on your.
Oh, yeah, that's
There's
the one. I'm looking for. Thank you.
there's no black Karen, bro. They had the same
Yes,
power.
it is.
I'm gonna
Yes,
have the
there
same
is.
power
What's up,
as
A-Cop?
Karen.
Yes, there is.
No,
Are
they
you
can't.
crazy?
Until they down the
Thank you.
Karen movement, before all this stuff happened, there's no way a black woman had that same power of a Karen had.
Bro,
At
I
that
seen
that's
a
the one
young
he likes,
black
too.
woman take down the
Yeah.
whole Duke
Thank
Cross
you.
team.
What?
All right.
What do you
It
mean?
got,
What?
it got
What's up,
reversed,
Lark?
bro. She had to sue. What are you talking about? It never. It didn't. It,
What do you mean? Them dudes lost everything. They can't get back from that. They lost their opportunities. They lost their job. They ruined their reputations. They will never be able to recover lifetime from what it
that's
is that she
because Duke
accused them
didn't
of.
want the bad representation of rape on their damn campus, bro. She was a stripper on top of that. What?
You know what's great? Kids come home. They got me a drink. They got me some weed. And they got my cat some weed. So we're going to have fun. Back to the story.
Bro, a black woman completely destroyed all of them boys' lives. What are you talking about?
She also had the NAACP helping that with that moment too. It wasn't just
Bro,
okay.
I
Karen.
see men every single day getting released from the Innocence Project who spent 10, 20, 30 years of their lives based off of an accusation from a black woman every day.
That's
What
not
are you talking
racism,
about?
bro. That's not
That's
racism.
not
That's just
racism, though.
You said
They're not the only ones accusing people.
No, bro. You said what is a black woman and is there a black woman that's the equivalent of a Karen?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Having the power by herself. She don't need no other extra help.
Yes.
A white woman by herself can carry more weight than a black woman could. And when it comes
Okay,
to that,
I tell you what. I tell you what.
Right.
Piss one off and stand there while she call the police and see what
I
happened to your
piss one
ass.
off every day.
You married to one?
I'm still
I'm talking about in real life. Like
okay.
piss one off.
Yeah, you
stand
pissed
there
off
while
a
she
black
call the
Karen,
police
it's
and see what
done.
happened to your
It's
ass.
loud.
Her being black, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
She still had the power. You said the power word. So
Yeah.
once a
I
woman
did. I like the idea of Matt Gaetz. However, there's something that happened a few years ago, which I think is coming back again, that I thought was already taken care of. It had to do with lying, and I can't remember. And now that it comes back again, I kind of thought it went away, but I guess not. Actually, the panel really isn't racist. It's a racist topic.
calls the cops and she can make up a whole lie,
Like I said with Matt
she
Gaetz.
has the power.
I got to see the outcome. But as for right now, I'd never liked him. But if he's going to be the DA or the AG, I think that honestly would be a good thing. However, we got to see what happens with his case.
That's not racism.
I
Bro.
think
That's not. But that's not
she
racism.
came
Not
out again,
racism,
didn't
but
she?
when you said power, and it's equivalent to Karen.
Exactly, Matt. That's how I
power
feel.
over another race.
And that one baggage
If it's
thing
black on black,
happens
not
to
the
be-
same thing. I say over another. We don't have no power over
the
no white
one
people.
baggage just happens to be a 17-year-old girl.
Yes, we do. And I just want to say,
Dude,
yeah,
I just seen
Disney
a
went through
former
a whole
president almost go
scandal.
down. I literally
Disney
just
went
seen
through
a
a
former president almost go down.
Keyword almost. He didn't go down.
From 3 black women conspiring against him, and you telling me that she don't have no power.
What happened?
They held up over $500,000 over Trump's head in
Oh,
order
yeah.
for him to even be able to file an appeal in New
A
York.
lot of these were woke way
That ain't
before the
power.
election.
No, it didn't go through.
How didn't it go through? It did go through.
He's finna be our president now. If he had power, she'd be able to eliminate him out the
The
picture.
only thing that saved him was the American people that voted for him.
I got you, but ain't no.
But she
American
had
people
power
can't
to
save me and
absolutely.
the American people can't save me and Anton if Karen say something. We say we raped her.
You are delusional.
Well, at that point when
If
Trump got convicted for being a felon, she did her part. She won. Now it's on the judge. What else? She did her part.
Kim Worthy, who was the prosecutor, literally go after, man, you are out of your mind, bro. You are out of your mind. I seen Kim Worthy. I got an interview coming up with her that I did. And she's the prosecutor over here in Wayne County in Detroit. And you wouldn't believe the amount of white men that she took down. She almost took down the former governor, Rick Snyder, here in Michigan. And he a white billionaire.
Hey,
are you crazy?
Leave her alone.
You said, and you keep saying the keyword almost. I'm talking about take them down. Not no almost.
There's a difference between something being systemic,
right,
and something being blatant. Systemically, I mean, we're in America. Like, that's the foundation of America is based off of racism. We understand that. But Black people can be racist. Black people can be prejudiced. Black people can be, but to Victor's point, everybody is not racist.
Prejudice.
It's not, that shouldn't be a blanket statement. Does everybody have biases? Yes, that I have biases towards, you know, maybe somebody who didn't grow up like me or somebody who doesn't look like me or didn't go to school as me. But to say blatantly racist, absolutely not. Systemically racist, we're in America. That's just what's going to happen. But I don't think everybody's racist. But Black people.
No.
Victor do.
Everyone can.
Victor's
I'm sorry, if I'm in an elevator and I see two men, if I see a white man walking up to me looking in raggedy with a hoodie on, and I see a Black man walking in with a nice suit and tie, I'm gonna feel safer around the Black man. Actually, this happened not so long ago. I was going to the park with my son and I saw a homeless man, white man, just chilling, and I saw a Black man that was playing basketball by himself, working out. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna stand over there just in case something happens. He's right there. I felt safer over there. So it's not about color, it's about presentation. Like, we all have biases. If we see someone that looks homeless and raggedy, we gonna pay more attention to that than we are to someone that looks nice. Like, it's just, we all, like, the first few seconds you see someone, everyone's gonna have some kind of bias. If I see a girl that is covered up looking like Jerry, I'm gonna be like, oh, she's a very nice, respectable woman. If I see another girl that got her ass on, I'm gonna think she a hoe. Like, it's natural. You look at things, you have a perception. That doesn't make you racist. It just doesn't. It's the same thing. Like I said, you just look at somebody, you might have a quick perception, but you're not going to automatically think, oh, Black bad, white good. No, because if I see a white man that looks raggedy, I'm going to feel unsafe. Right. So it's just about.
And the media plays a lot of a part.
That's not racism.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the media shows you all day, all the time, especially back in like the 90s. In the 80s, the media would show you like every scene clip will be Black man doing this, Black man doing that, Black man doing this. So when you beating that, and people head through the media, when you get outside and you get around that this person that look exactly like what the media keep warning you about, yeah, you're gonna clutch your pearls. It's the same thing with the Asians. Like, when if you ask an Asian who's never been to America, what do he think about Black people? He might have a whole lot of negative stuff to say because they watch the media, they watch the news.
True story. The first time my oldest daughter, she was like maybe 3, saw a Black person, she was like, Mama, Ongoy. And I looked at my wife and I was like, oh my God, we need to get this fixed. Ongoy is Tagalog for monkey.
They only know from what they see on the news. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just tired of this whole racism talk. Like, black people is like the new KKK, and y'all don't even see it.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all niggas the new KKK. Y'all so
That's
busy
right.
worried about the KKK. You are the KKK.
Y'all killing each other,
Niggas is
killing
running
y'all babies,
around,
everything.
hunting down your own damn people, and you talking about Trump got the damn KKK with him. Nigga, you the KKK.
Yeah.
It's
We
you.
doing a job.
I agree. They're doing their job. They're doing their job.
They keep the Democratic lies
The
alive.
KKK no more.
I
Why we
agree.
need
Look at Victor,
KKK
the
when we got
racist
black,
down
black,
there.
black?
He's just seething.
Why we need KKK? We got black. Y'all don't know how to act. We don't need the KKK.
Racist.
Them niggas is sitting back with their feet up, drinking a damn Coors
He's
Light,
seething.
and watching y'all do their job. That's what y'all black people are the new KKK.
Don't they go back to what I said earlier though? They don't have no guidance and no leadership.
Well, their guidance
No.
and
Why-
leadership
okay,
is
so
weak.
at what point does that get fixed?
Yeah.
You gotta stop using that.
It should
At
be
some
innate
point.
in you. You either that dude or not that dude.
Exactly. At
Y'all
some
may
point,
need to
I
start
gotta stop
stepping up
making
in your own
excuses for why you ain't shit.
Exactly.
That shit is insane. Because I knew once I knew as a human being, I knew once I passed a certain age, I had to stop doing certain shit. That was just a natural thought. So it's no excuse why you 45 out here still robbing them.
Oh.
There's no excuse why you 45 out here still robbing gas stations. That's just insane.
I ain't talking about the old niggas. I'm talking about all of the young ones.
Yeah, I feel
When
like
say
Victor
guidance,
is
you
he's
get
the
all
only one
of
that's
them
really
in-
getting upset, trying to make it racist this, racist that. Like I said, I've seen his kind in the army. He was in the army 13 years. I can sense the racism just oozing from his bald head.
25 not to do what he's been doing for his whole life.
It doesn't matter the environment that you're in. As a man, you need to step up. You don't need any leaders. If you have to seek guidance from somebody else, you're not a man. And that's what we were just talking about. You are very weak-minded. You should not seek the leadership of a woman.
Girl would
As
love
we
me.
said last panel last week, a woman is the neck. You seek her
We're not
for
talking about a woman's leadership,
or,
but when you
know,
say they should just
with her or something, but ultimately you make the decision. So as a man, it doesn't matter if you're 18, it doesn't matter how old you are. As a man, it should be innate in you to be that dude and to be that man. You shouldn't have to seek counsel from quote unquote leaders who really ain't do a damn thing for the community in the first place, if that's who you're seeking guidance from.
Jared,
but it should be in you. There's no excuse. I don't believe in it.
I love what you said, Jared, but I ain't trying to pick on you, Ty, but I keep seeing you doing different face expression when she's saying what she's saying. She's speaking the facts. I
You
don't
know,
know
it's
why
funny
you
when it
would
comes
even
like being around your own kind. I'm comfortable just being around just me and my family, or a dog and a cat, or 2 dogs, or 5 dogs and 2 cats. Who has 5 dogs and 2 fucking cats? Ridiculous.
frown up on that.
Every human being is a product of their environment. Some people grow above that environment, but everybody's a product of their environment. If you on O Block, which in Chicago, you grow up like that. If you off of 8 Mile in Warrington in Detroit, you grow up like that. If you off of 82nd, you grow up like that.
8 Mile in Warrington was actually a really good neighborhood, bro.
I know 20512 Warrington Drive. That's where I live.
All right. Yeah, that shortly after that, like he took a long break, and then for like the next 30 to 45 minutes, he would not say anything. It was fucking hilarious, man. They shut him down quick. All right, let's talk about what Kamala Harris and Joe Rogan we're going to talk about. Just kidding. I don't want to fucking listen to that one right now. Oh,
we're learning
some news. So, yo, the house in this story is fucking, I don't know, man. I would love to have this house. I can't afford it. But to what these fucking parents did.
more about the disturbing case in southwest suburban Homer Glen, where a 2-year-old girl died inside a home that prosecutors describe as deplorable. The inside littered with drugs and garbage.
Our Andrew Ramos spoke to neighbors in Homer Glen.
Yo,
From the
look at this
outside, this
fucking
residence,
house, man. It's got a fucking basement.
Long Thornapple Drive in Homer Glen may look like a dream home, but prosecutors say what was going on inside was a nightmare. The homeowner, Edward Weiher, appeared before a Will County judge today where he was denied a pretrial release as prosecutors outlined a troubling case against the 49-year-old father of two. Weiher was arrested last week when deputies responded to a 911 call for a carbon monoxide leak at the home. What they found was 2-year-old Trinity Balin Weiher unresponsive and her father performing CPR on her. The child later died at a nearby hospital. Prosecutors suspect the death was the result of drug intoxication due to the amount of drugs found throughout the home, but an exact cause of death has not yet been determined by the medical examiner. Weiher's other daughter, a 6-year-old, was also found in the home. She was hospitalized after fentanyl and heroin were found in her system. Both Weiher and the children's mother, identified as 27-year-old Alexa Balin, were taken into custody. During today's court hearing, prosecutors said the $1 million home the family lived in was in complete disarray, where drugs and filth were everywhere. And in one case, a pile of cocaine was found sitting next to a carton of milk. The Department of Children and Family Services confirmed to CBS News Chicago that it has had prior involvement with the family but could not comment further due to the active investigation. Meanwhile, neighbors tell us off camera that the family built a reputation for themselves on the block for being, quote, weird, end quote. Weiher, who court records revealed owned a machine business based in Frankfurt and lived off a trust, was rarely seen ever since moving his family into the home in July. Amazon deliveries, neighbors say, would go untouched for weeks. And the late-night visits from random cars that would back into the driveway raised concerns with the homeowners association. Weiher was charged with 4 felony counts including child endangerment, while the children's
trust fund. He got that place because he's a trust fund baby. What the fuck? God damn, some people just shouldn't have kids. It was a grandmother?
This is the big.
All right, which one's this? Okay, see what
I don't know. I'm profoundly.
This is The View. I don't remember which episode it was. Just gonna listen to them melt down. So we're gonna talk about a few of these ones actually. Yeah, all that Amazon shit was fucking ridiculous. I mean, I guess when you're a trust fund bucket, you can buy as much as you want.
Disturbed. We know now that he will have almost unfettered power. I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have. Again, I'm profoundly disturbed that the
We're trying to figure out what rights have your daughters lost? Yours specifically that you have that she doesn't. She can get a tattoo. Oh, no, wait, she's not old enough. You can get a tattoo. You can get alcohol. You can drive. You can do all that stuff. Right? Those are the rights you have that she doesn't. Maybe that's where I'm getting this.
14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States.
Not one person has been charged with insurrection. Not one.
I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off. And I think our healthcare system is now at risk. I think
no fluoride for anyone.
Yeah, I'm worried about mass deportation and internment camps, and I'm also worried about Elon Musk warning Americans to prepare for temporary hardship. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment.
So Elon Musk saying prepare for a hardship is a big deal when Joe Biden literally said we're going to have a dark fucking winter.
In this country.
You know, LARP, I thought they taught us that in high school. I know, I learned it.
And I make a commitment to our LGBTQ, to our immigrants, to our elderly, to our young girls, to the women, that we will not stop fighting.
We didn't tell people who to vote for.
Right.
We just said go out. Well, yes, but I did not.
Yeah, I did.
Because I wanted to make sure people exercise.
I'm going to talk about Whoopi for a second. So Whoopi had a birthday, or her grandmother's birthday, her mom's birthday, whatever the fuck it was, and she wanted 50 of these fucking cupcakes from a certain bakery. Well, she went to submit the order, and they were like, we don't know if we're going to be able to fill this. We don't know if we're going to be able to get this on time. And she took that as, we're not going to make them. Well, and then another person from her camp ordered cupcakes, and they were like, yep, we'll get them to you, and they brought them. Now, this is days apart. The bakery, which she said will not be named, well, that bakery came out and said, oh, our ovens were down. We were having issues. That's why we told her we might not be able to fulfill this. Might not be able to. Didn't say they couldn't. And she took that as because she has her liberal views, because she's a Democrat. They did it because of her political views. In New York. Even the mayor came out. Not the mayor of New York, but that little Staten Island. And they did a whole press conference on Whoopi and her fucking Jussie Smollett incident. Now, keep that in mind.
Is that right? Too many people that I know died trying to vote.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
You know what? You know what?
What does she mean? She knows people that have died trying to vote. Where in America has someone died trying to vote? In the past, 10 years. I don't remember that. Let's go 30 years. I don't remember that. Let's go 40 years. I definitely don't remember that.
Gets me, the exit polls showed, according to our research department here at ABC News, the state of democracy.
There's a rumor going around they're actually looking for a strong conservative woman and not like fucking Farrah Griffin and the other Sonny Holston. They're not Republicans. They're fucking rhinos. And I don't believe Holston was ever a Republican.
Democracy was the top issue to voters overall. So that says that they voted for a guy who wanted to overthrow the election, who also said he would be a dictator on day one. And they also said that democracy was number one. So I'm concluding that maybe they don't believe him.
But I think it means different things. I think democracy means different things. It means to different people.
Well, when you're trying to overthrow a legitimate election and you say you're going to be a dictator, I don't know how you interpret that any other way, frankly.
Well,
so I can only conclude that they don't believe.
One on the border, you ignorant bitch. Keep going through the whole statement.
If he's going to do that. And I hope they're right. I hope that they are right.
I didn't put this in for any other reason but to watch their faces. Their faces as racism failed.
You won't hear from the vice president tonight, but you will hear from her tomorrow.
You're right with that, Bill Evans. The victimhood, what's the word I'm looking? Because Lard said something about it. Victim mentality. Yo, what the fuck is that?
Thank you for all that you have done. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing in the promise of America. We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice has spoken.
Oh yeah, you got war paint on your face, you dumb bitch.
So thank you. We believe in you. May God bless you. May God keep you.
Whoa.
Go Harris.
Oh, he's on his phone. He's probably playing Pokemon.
Thank you all.
if you or someone in your family or know somebody that is a Democrat and they voted for Kamala Harris, make sure you check in on them if they're still your friends, because they probably unfriended you and blocked you, because that's happening. One bitch is even divorcing her husband.
Democrats thought taking the presidency.
What is wrong with this country that they would choose a message of divisiveness, of xenophobia, of racism,
go,
of
Matt.
misogyny, over a message of inclusiveness, a message for the people, by the people, of the people. That is what the problem is. It's the Republican Party.
But
What's wrong with America?
Something? The Democrats are the ones. They are the party that cares for the blue collar voter. The Republican Party doesn't give a rat's patootie about
clearly
it.
they didn't convince the voters of
So
that.
all I can deduce is that it's the messaging. It didn't get through to people. They're not paying attention.
And the Republicans don't care.
Oh, dude, I'm loving his
The
pick.
message of the Democrats sounded elitist. You don't have value in the society.
They
if you don't have a
sounded
college
that way, but
degree.
when you look at the proof,
yeah,
they weren't.
but Joy, it's condescending. It's condescending. There is a
condescending.
The way that the left speaks to its voters. It really is.
A message of joy and inclusiveness.
No, the message
I've
of
been a
being
fan of Tulsi
educated,
since
being dumb, and what's wrong with America.
Who said that?
2016.
Sonny just did.
What is wrong with
Joy,
America?
my
2015.
point here is that my point is I don't blame Joe Biden. I don't blame
She's the
Kamala
only
Harris.
Democrat I've
Go
actually
back
voted
as far
for.
as you want. I blame a messaging within the Democratic Party.
You don't blame the Republican
Party. Can I just
Party at
finish
all?
my point, please? I obviously have a problem. Anyone has a problem with Donald Trump. The bigger question should be, yes, Sonny, why did they vote for him?
Yes.
In sweeping,
100%.
no,
Those two
we
picks
need
right
to be
there.
introspective.
And when I heard RFK especially got HHS, that's a good thing, because he's going to go against pharma. And the second he was tapped, big pharma like Pfizer and them, their fucking stocks went down. They know what's coming.
If we voted for Kamala Harris, we need to say what didn't resonate with the voters. Do you know what didn't resonate with the voters? When they were saying we don't feel safe, and the left focused on defund the police and bail reform. Can I just finish? Let me just finish real quickly. When they were focused on
It's only an hour show, ladies.
Joy, when they were focused on renaming schools,
You
there
know
were
who's
people
not
saying,
there?
hey, students are destroying colleges. I paid for that. I sent them there. They can't learn. And everyone apologized for it and didn't want to attend to it. They also denied the border was a crisis and kept saying, no, it's fine. This is not a...
There was a border bill,
I think
though.
she was
There was a
part of
border
that
bill.
in her
Yes, but
Democrat
Joy, my
days.
point is they Biden screamed and administration. screamed and screamed. They didn't vote for him because he's a racist or a misogynist. They voted because they needed help in their everyday lives.
but Sarah,
they
they
made
voted- they
the
voted.
majority of
How
this
do you know
country
that?
because
There's a lot of-
every stat coming out on the people willing to self-reflect are showing these.
Oh, wait, they're going to say I'm a racist and
Yeah.
misogynist in the exit poll?
You have to heat it up specifically to 98.6 degrees. Anything below that, it's not going to taste good. Anything above that, it's just going to be a waste.
Joy,
people are racist.
Every racist and misogynist voted for Donald Trump. Not everyone that voted for Donald Trump was a racist and misogynist.
I agree with
They swept every category,
You
and the
realize
reason
a
they
lot
did
of black men are misogynists, especially black men that are of actual legit African descent, once or two generations removed.
it is to say, hey guys, no excuses this time.
Yeah. Look,
they lost everything.
There's still
a country
half the
that
country
allows
that
its
doesn't agree with
environment to
him.
be ravaged, its children to be shot, its wealth to be hoarded, its workers to be exploited, its poor to starve, its cops to murder.
So you think America's
a
the
country
problem?
in trouble.
It's
So
America's
so
the
we
problem,
go,
and the
Trump is
voters
not
are
going to
the
make it
problem.
better.
Oh, they didn't do the part where fucking Hostin fucking got retarded saying it was all about racism.
Let's take a look.
So, back to celebrities, right? Let's talk about some celebrities that were very, very upset that Hollywood's going to go down. Now, let's see what happened on X. By the way, those who don't know, Don Lemon quit X. I didn't even know he had an X account because I thought it was gone after he got fired. And Joy Reid, the great and mighty racist woman, she quit X, but she hadn't posted in fucking 2-3 years. So who cares? So just an update, you know.
Look at some delicious X salt. Starting with the king of Trump derangement syndrome himself, Mark Hamill. They say we get the leaders we deserve. Either that has just been disproven, or this is not the America we all thought we were living in. Oh, Mark, come on, we can do better than that. We know you're losing your frickin' mind today, but at least we know we control you with this. Trump following the arc of your overrated movie series. Yes, overrated. Star Wars is garbage. Our good friend, oh boy, Dash Dabrowski. I thought Trump's blatant transparency about his plans to become a dictator and strip away healthcare and basic civil liberties would trigger the biggest blue wave in history. But I was wrong. Racism, misogyny, and disinformation won in the end. Dash, I think it's about time you hang it up. But if you're not going to hang it up, please keep the greatest hits going.
Racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, anti-Semitism.
Bette Midler. Kamala wins. Trump wins. Later, Bette Midler.
She needs to do that shit live on The View. She said it. It's right there. Come on. Keep your word.
Something went wrong. Try again. Well, I hope the Drano was delicious. Oh, we have a great meltdown here from Christina Applegate. Why? Give me your reasons why. My child is sobbing because her rights as a woman may be taken away. Why?
Hold your child.
And if you disagree, please unfollow me.
Well, I wasn't following you.
Please unfollow me if you voted against female rights. Against disability rights. What? Yeah, that. Unfollow me because what you did is unreal. Don't want followers like this. So yeah, done.
Okay.
A few moments later, I apologize. I'm still reeling and sobbing, but I'm not angry anymore. Just gonna go back to my bubble and watch a shit ton of Bravo shows. Yeah, that checks out.
People still watch
peace
Bravo?
to all. I suggest you do the same. Very soothing. Oh, we are gonna have to keep an eye on this crazy bitch. Harry Sisson. America failed women tonight. Trump bullied, assaulted, and stripped reproductive rights away from women all across the country. And instead of standing...
This 4B... The fuck? Oh, you son of a bitch. Fuck. Give me a second. God damn it. There it is.
Instead of standing...
All right, we're back. I totally forgot what I was going to say about this little faggot right here.
Against it.
This whole 4B movement is pretty much helping with abortions. I wonder how much abortion is going to go down. Well, within the first year, they'll probably go down until all realize like munching the carpet was not in their favor.
Many voted for it. We have failed our daughters, mothers, and sisters. I'm sorry, it is so creepy that this 12-year-old boy is so obsessed with women's rights. You're a creep. Kamala Harris's speech was amazing. It was grateful, strong, and hit the right tone. She's a fantastic leader and a great role model. No idea how she lost to Trump. Well, if you have no idea, Harry, maybe you shouldn't be a political commentator anymore. Stephen King. There's a sign you see in many shops that sell beautiful but fragile items.
Donations.
Lovely to look at, delightful to hold, but once you break it, then it's sold. You can...
I'm not going to take anything from a guy who fucking wrote in a book about a teenage gangbang, gang rape. Come on, man. Detailed. Fucking chomo.
Say the same about democracy. Oh wow, Stephen, you're so sophisticated. At least you didn't try to sneak in a child orgy scene in this tweet. Barack Obama. Here's our statement on the results of the 2024 presidential election. Yeah, I'm not reading that bullshit. Yvette Nicole Brown. I guess she's an actress. Sherrod Brown losing in Ohio is a loss to Ohio and our nation. This is a disgrace at a level I can't even quantify. My home state of Ohio chose a criminal, and it looks like this nation is choosing a criminal. America is showing out tonight. Just showing out. Can we get an IQ check on YNB? Rob Reiner. Oh, come on, Rob. We're waiting. We're waiting. Well, we really should check on Kathy Griffin to see how she's doing. Oh my God, what the? Holy hell. This is what you would see waiting for you at the gates of hell. Well, I think that's enough for me, but if any more brainlet celebrities come crying.
If that was waiting for me at the gates of hell, I'd have to chop its head off. Now let's talk about border security. This is a quick 3-minute difference showing the differences between the old borders are and the new borders are. All right. Y'all ready for this? Let's get into it.
Up with education, down with deportation. Up with education, down with deportation.
I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
We are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
I hear a lot of people say, the talk of a mass deportation is racist. It's threatening to the immigrant community. It's not threatening to the immigrant community. It should be threatening to the illegal immigrant community.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
It is not an emergency. We are not facing a crisis.
We have a president of the United States who has created a fiction about a crisis at the border, and he has held up the United States government and its workers around his vanity project called a wall.
To the criminal cartels in Mexico. You smuggled enough fentanyl across this country to kill 148,000 young Americans. You have killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined. And that's when President Trump gets back in office. He's going to designate you a terrorist organization, and he's going to wipe you off the face of the earth. You're done. You're done.
The idea that he is trying to say that we have people that are trying to invade our country to commit mass crime is a crisis of his own making. I specialize in transnational criminal organizations. Yeah. That wall ain't gonna stop them. No.
There's a 600% increase in the sex trafficking of women and children. Border Patrol has arrested more terrorists coming across the border in 1 month than Trump had in 4 years. This is the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever had. Donald Trump would be the president. I'll be in the middle of running the biggest deportation operation this country's ever seen.
Since Obama?
We don't need to build a wall. This is a crisis of his own making. The President of the United States has a vanity project that he doesn't want to give up. It's the President's vanity project. This issue is about a vanity project for this president. Right. The president's vanity project? Let me be very clear. I'm not going to vote for a wall under any circumstances. It will not end with a wall. It will not end with a wall.
It will not end with a wall?
No.
All right.
He comes back, I come back, we fix this shit.
No, like, these are Americans. Like, they don't give a fuck. Like most Americans. The borders are. Why don't we go more into my old stomping grounds and the Secretary of Defense? Like I said earlier, I think it was earlier, I'd rather have somebody that was closer to the troops than a fucking general. Because at that point, especially a 4-star, they haven't dealt with troops in fucking forever.
President-elect Biden made overturning President Trump's ban on open transgender military service a day one priority. Can you confirm your commitment?
I support the president's plan or plan to overturn the ban.
Impose DEI and CRT and gender fluid standards into the military. You are breeding a less capable military. You are giving commanders less opportunity to train. There's less accountability. I heard time and time again from leaders, I'm walking on eggshells because I don't know what pronoun. You know, we got transitioning soldiers in our units. I've got a quota I need to meet of a certain number of women.
And I only had one that was I was in charge of headquarters platoon, and she was one of them. She. I didn't even know, honestly, that there was a trans person that was on therapy. I didn't know until someone told me. It's like, oh my God. I totally thought that was a dude the whole fucking time.
Men or a certain number of minorities. What are we doing here?
There's not a day in my life, David, when I didn't wake up and think about the fact that I was a black man.
A number of the African Americans that we have talked to for this story have said when they are the only one in the room, they feel as if they're not being listened to. Did you have that experience? Absolutely had that experience.
You know what I did do, Tim? I have an Army officer's guide from 1999, which was given to me before I was commissioned as a lieutenant, and it has a recommended reading list in it. Here's a quick list of some of the things in the recommended reading list from the Army from 1999. I think we have it, that we can put it up on the screen. That's definitely not it. That is the anti-racist list and the sexual murder. There we go. On War, The Soldier in the State, Company Commander, a classic. This is a reading list that connects to my job as an infantry platoon leader, which is to close with and destroy the enemy.
You guys said that Russia would overrun Ukraine in 36 days. You said that the Taliban would be kept at bay for months. You totally blew those calls. And maybe we would be better at them if the National Defense University actually worked a little more on strategy and a little less on wokeism.
Has it occurred to you that Russia has not overrun Ukraine because of what we've done and our allies have done?
But that was baked into your flawed assessment. That was baked into your flawed assessment. And so I saw that the Obama administration tried to destroy our military by starving it of resources, and it seems the Biden administration is trying to destroy our military by force-feeding it wokeism.
There's no way this is constitutional.
Between Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Trump, being in the military under Bush and Trump was fucking probably the best thing for soldiers. I mean, we still got paid like shit, but at least I respected them because they actually came out to meet with us. As far as Biden and Harris, I don't remember hearing many stories of them going to visit troops overseas. And I'm not talking about Germany.
To force people to take a vaccine when they could prove they already had COVID or they want a religious exemption. This is going to pit Americans against each other.
Will you call for the re-recruitment, restoration of full rank and back pay for the 8,600 service members who were vax mandated out of the military?
No, I won't.
I believe 91% of them said they would not come back in under any circumstances.
Think of the exact opposite of what the woke left has been advancing, and that's what Donald Trump is about to do, because we're awake to the schemes, the utopian schemes, the globalist schemes of what they're trying to peddle.
I told our allies that no matter what the outcome of our review, the United States will not undertake a hasty or disorderly withdrawal from Afghanistan that puts their forces or the alliance's reputation at risk.
There have been successful tactical retreats in the past. This is a disaster. It started with getting rid of the Bagram Air Base, which was securable.
That should have been the last
one. To get people out, in addition to what you have.
Bagram was like its own fucking city. We hit a huge ass airport, probably one of the biggest in Afghanistan. Now, I heard something about the DA in that Penny case is trying to make it to where self-defense is no longer allowed in situations like that.
So it is really demoralizing to see. But what's more demoralizing is the utter failure of our Defense Department and intelligence agencies to understand the nature of the enemy.
I appreciate that you think that was a big success evacuation, but the blame for the disastrous withdrawal that everyone agrees was a disaster, who's to blame for that? I'll let the silence speak for itself.
Hello.
All right. Yes, Sentinel, I agree. The only ones, the ones they can actually show for a fact that they committed some kind of real crime, because trespassing is not a crime if it's, well, technically it is, but they weren't committing any crimes. It's the people's building. But the people on the outside, why the fuck were they even charged? Why are they in jail? Why is a lady that was across the street on her cell phone in jail? Why is a guy that was in Maryland under FBI custody in jail for the insurrection? But nobody's been charged with insurrection.
Dr. Rachel Levine.
Oh, haha.
That's a good boy.
As an openly transgender woman, I would like to highlight the importance of diversity. Diversity should be welcomed and actually celebrated.
President Trump and I are going to replace the corrupt industry-captured officials with honest public servants. We're going to steer resources to meet our nation's biggest health challenge, chronic disease. We're going to identify its root cause, and we're going to eliminate those exposures.
Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride.
Doritos, Cheez-Its,
All right,
Captain
Cops, have a good day,
Crunch,
brother.
gummy bears. Everyone knows that these are junk foods, so maybe you wouldn't be too surprised to see that the ingredients
Because no one died at the Capitol that day, to include Ashley Babbitt.
include a lot of poisons, including a harmful yellow dye called tartrazine, or yellow dye number 5. This yellow dye, tartrazine, causes tumors, asthma, developmental delays, neurological damage, ADD, ADHD, hormone disruption, gene damage, anxiety, depression, intestinal injuries.
At Health and Human Services, we're focusing on health equity. We are working, for example, on the impacts of climate change on health. We're working on environmental justice.
Not only do the chemicals pollute our bodies,
It's
the
not
same way
lung
that they
cancer.
pollute.
It's an actual disease. But yeah, and that was one of the first things when I was trying to listen to RFK. I was like, man, I gotta get through that, translate whatever he's trying to say, which got easier, a lot easier when you start listening to the guy talk more and more. Because I was really listening to him talk when he was, when all Vivek and all them were trying to run for president. Yeah, he was one of the ones I was paying attention to as well.
The soil. But corporate interests have hijacked the USDA's dietary guidelines. We're going to ban the worst agricultural
no, I still got more
that are
video.
already prohibited in other countries.
When it comes to making sure kids are healthy and happy, I know how important care that affirms someone's true identity can be. Gender-affirming care is life-saving, medically necessary, age-appropriate, and a critical tool for healthcare providers.
I asked God for 19 years to put me in a position where I could end the chronic disease epidemic and bring health back to our children. And in August, God sent me Donald Trump.
We have safe and effective vaccines, and it's just very important at this time for everyone to go out and get vaccinated. The world needs as many vaccines as we can get.
It's a
Of
Red
the
Bull.
72 vaccine doses now mandated, essentially mandated, they're recommended, but they're really
I'm not
mandated.
saying follow my health wise, because it's the same thing as me being a medic. I can tell you how to stay healthy. I can tell you how to, heal. But do I follow it? No. A lot of medical providers don't.
American children, none of them, not one, has ever been subject to a pre-licensing placebo-controlled trial.
Yes, they have.
No.
Yes, they have.
You can read HHS's admission that not a single one has ever been safety tested pre-licensing. If I'm wrong, show me the test, show me the study. You won't be able to, because there are none.
Can't wait till he gets in charge and goes through all these fucking notes and studies and stuff. Just like the Senate, Congress, House is telling the Justice Department and Jack Smith not to destroy anything because we want to go look through what y'all have. Subpoenaed it. Wonder what they're suddenly shredding right now in those two areas.
Speaking
All right. Let's see what I have. I think it's a best of series. Oh, shit. So we got two more. No. What the fuck did I just do? Matt. Down. Why did it go fucking back up there? Hold. Give me a second.
Oh yeah, Ayos. Let's welcome these folks to the Uso Penitentiary. Bam! Okay, all right. Hey, let's get it, Us. You already know. As soon as you feel that creep, you about to get put to sleep.
Speaking of government bureaucrats, I have heard enough of that sniveling little twit, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
All right. Is it safe to say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that?
I've heard enough of that sniveling little twit, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Is it safe to say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
What do you say to people who think
I
that
wasn't
those
done.
comments are offensive?
Fuck y'all. Be offended.
The American people need to understand what just happened. My Democrat colleague just asked the director of the FBI whether or not they are buying information about our fellow Americans. And the answer is, well, we'll just have to get back to you on that. It sounds really complicated. But I have other questions.
Complicated.
I'm sitting here with my father. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI does not and has no interest in
You won't answer the question about whether or not that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing about you. Why is it that the women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions? Nobody wants to impregnate you if you look like a thumb. So when did you notice his decline?
I don't know when he said that, but it's funny. Because I said, when you look like a thumb, and this fucking 4B movement, bitches are literally shaving their fucking heads. Did he predict the future?
In my role, all my interactions with the current president have been completely professional.
Right, but I mean the cognitive decline. I'm not saying he treated you unprofessionally, just maybe not picking things up as quickly as he used to.
Again, I don't meet with him very often, but what you're describing is not something that I've observed during my interactions with him.
I mean, we've had it observed so often that the ranking member and Mr. Schiff on this committee have said that he could no longer continue as a candidate. And so, since you're the FBI director, I was just sort of wondering, like, who's running the country? Like if something bad happened, you'd have to go brief President Biden about it right now? God forbid?
And on any number of occasions, I have briefed the president, and as I said, those briefings have all been uneventful and unremarkable.
Oh, I can imagine them being uneventful. But in the work where the vice president's also present, like you say, there's like more than half the time there's these briefings, she's there too?
I don't know if I said more than half the time. Certainly, there have been times where she's been present. There have been other times where she hasn't.
I take you at your word when you say this is the most complicated threat environment you've ever observed over a long career in law enforcement. And I'm just kind of wondering, with this assassination attempt, with the invasion at our border, with all the Hamas that have been let in that you've talked about and briefed about, like, is Biden up to it? And if he's not up to it, and you're a guy who's been regularly briefing him, like who's been in on this conspiracy to hide the real Joe Biden from all of us for years?
Everyone.
It never occurred to you that this guy wasn't up to it in all these briefings you did?
As I said, my briefings with the president have all been completely fine.
Were they between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m.?
He's asked questions. There hasn't been anything of note in the area that you're talking about.
Yeah, did you ever have to brief him before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m.? We hear those are his good hours.
Yeah, those are his prime hours.
I've certainly times
that's a
that I
yes.
have briefed have included outside those hours.
Right. Okay. I just, I think the American people want to know how we got to this point with someone who's so diminished his own party has basically put him out to pasture. And since you had close proximity and the vice president had close proximity, I'm just kind of wondering if you were being straight with all of us about how things were going with him. I guess we'll have to figure that out.
You can count on me to be straight with you, sir.
We'll see. Attorney General, you've told us that it's a dangerous conspiracy theory to allege that the Department of Justice is communicating with these state and local prosecutions against Trump. You can clear it all up for us right now. Will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fonnie Willis' office and Letitia James's office?
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well, I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own decisions.
The question is whether you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those communications?
You make a request. We'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing. You come in here and you lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory that there is coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about. Now, you were a judge, once nominated the highest court in our country. When you were a judge, I'm just curious, did you ever make political donations to partisan candidates?
No.
No, and you didn't because that would create the potential appearance of impropriety.
I didn't because there's a federal rule barring federal judges from making contributions.
Right, but under that same theory of attacks on the judicial process, like shouldn't someone be owed like a jury of their peers and a judge that's non-biased rather than getting a judge from your political opponent's donor file?
I'm well aware that you're not asking a hypothetical. You're asking me to comment on a jury verdict in another jurisdiction which has to be respected. I won't comment on it. That case is still ongoing. The defendant
Mr. Attorney General, I hadn't asked you about the verdict yet. We were getting there. I was talking about the judge. I was wondering, Mr. Attorney General, has anyone at the department told President Biden to knock it off with Hunter? I mean, you guys are charging Hunter Biden on some crimes, investigating him on others. You've got the president bringing Hunter Biden around to state dinners. Has anyone told him to knock it off?
Our job in the Justice Department is to pursue our cases without reference to what's happening in the outside world.
Just yes or no. Have you done that?
That is what we do.
So it's a no?
No one that I know of has spoken to the White House about the Hunter Biden case.
I'm wondering then. Okay, I got it. So Hunter Biden is selling art to pay for his $15,000 a month rent in Malibu. How can you guarantee that the people buying that art aren't doing so to gain favor with the president?
The job of the Justice Department is to investigate criminal allegations. You have information.
Are you investigating this? I mean, someone who bought Hunter Biden's art ended up with a prestigious appointment to a federal position. Doesn't it look weird that he's become this immediate success in the art world as his dad is president of the United States? Isn't that odd?
I'm not going to comment about any specific.
Not going to comment, not going to investigate. So Hunter Biden associate Devin Archer told us that Hunter sold the appearance of access to then Vice President Biden. Are you confident he has stopped doing that?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Hunter Biden associate Devin Archer told us that Hunter sold the appearance of access to then Vice President Biden. Are you confident he has stopped?
I'm going to say again, that all these matters are within the purview of Mr. Weiss. I have not interfered with them, and I do not.
You were confident that he'd
Nathan's the
stop.
Attorney General, and before a congressional hearing, and then Nadler and Schiff both going at him. You know he can beat them. I want to see him destroy Goldman. That would be fun to watch.
And I do not intend to interfere with him.
So it was a lot of Chinese money that was working its way through these shell companies into the accounts of the Biden family. So the China Initiative was set up during the Trump administration at the Department of Justice to go after the malign influence of the Chinese Communist Party. And so let me ask you this question about your time as a judge. Was there ever a time when you were a judge when you had a family member who was personally profiting off of the notoriety of a case that was before your court?
Look, I'm going to say again, it's very clear you're asking me to comment on a case in another jurisdiction.
No, wait, hold on, Mr. Attorney General. Did you ever have a family member profit off of the notoriety of any case that you sat over?
Say again, you're asking
yes or no?
You're asking me to comment on a case currently.
Well, it seems you're connecting the dots, Mr. Attorney General. I'm just asking you as to a general principle, but you are aware that Judge Merchan's daughter was profiting off of this prosecution. You are aware that that creates the appearance of impropriety. You know the very reason there's a federal rule against judges giving donations is because it is the very attack on the judicial process that we're concerned about.
You have a good weekend.
Good by Tucker Carlson.
All right, here's the last one I want to talk about.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
The whole line of clinics
A little
shooting.
crime.
Somebody just walked out and started shooting people.
I would send a lot of ambulances. We have some critical spine injuries.
On the middle saying that he has 4 homemade explosive devices, they all went off.
A bomb or two is going to go off. You say there's a bomb?
When a disgruntled former patient invades the Allina Health Clinic in Buffalo, Minnesota, he comes armed with something far more terrifying than a grudge. As patients and staff hide for their lives amid a hailstorm of bullets and explosions, investigators rush to the scene to soon follow a disturbing trail of evidence, marking a twisted path of anger and revenge. But before they can begin, they must rescue the victims, as an unexploded pipe bomb lingers dangerously nearby.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
Crossroads Clinic?
Yes, tell me anything that you can about the party that's shooting.
I am.
The following footage has never been seen before.
Going to Crossroads Allina Clinic?
Yes.
On the cold morning of February 9th, 2021, a public transport van stops at Motel A to pick up a frequent passenger, 67-year-old Gregory Paul Ulrich. He takes a seat, setting a simple black briefcase beside him. The driver is unaware of the horrors the briefcase contains or the sinister plan he will soon carry out. Please be advised that the following footage is highly intense. However, it does not show anyone being physically harmed or injured.
Well, not really.
It's just before 11 a.m. when Gregory exits the van and is seen entering the Allina Health Clinic, where staff members Tammy, Terry, and Tracy are hard at work. Tammy greets Gregory, who passes the front desk, setting his briefcase on the floor nearby. He approaches Tammy at the front desk just as Nurse Antonia enters the reception area. Though the surveillance footage has no audio, a mother with her baby sitting near the back of the waiting room later explains what Gregory said as he approached the counter, seconds away from committing an unthinkable act of violence.
You walked in right behind me to the front counter to Tammy Schaffler and said, "I'm afraid you're in trouble. Get on the ground."
From the pocket of his coat, Gregory pulls out a firearm and without another word of warning fires through the plexiglass partition. As Tammy and Antonia duck for cover, the others quickly flee down the hallway, while an elderly patient hides behind a nearby wall. His twisted motives for the brutal attack would soon come to light as chilling details of his past with the clinic begin to emerge. Antonia, the nurse, would later admit she'd never met Gregory, but knew of him due to his photograph being circulated among the staff nearly a year prior to this incident.
Oh.
2 years ago, in 2018, Dr. Robert Mullaney at the Buffalo Hospital, just 2 miles from the Allina Clinic, claimed to have received a threatening manifesto from Gregory. In it, he discussed killing as many Allina employees as he could. A flyer was made and posted at both the hospital and the Allina clinic, warning the staff in case he appeared at either location. His violent vendetta against the clinic will be revealed later. For now, with at least 2 injured and more at risk, the relentless attack continues. As Gregory stalks the reception area, the mother waits for her chance to escape unnoticed. With his back turned, she begins to make her move, but his sudden shift in direction forces her to the ground, out of his sight. Gregory can be seen returning to the hallway, where witnesses would later claim to hear cries of "help me" in a high-pitched voice. One witness would note the unnerving feeling that these cries were meant to lure potential victims out of hiding. A female employee seizes her chance for freedom and bolts for the front door. A male employee and the mother follow closely behind as Antonio reaches for the emergency button, attempting to place the building on lockdown. As they run towards the safety of their vehicles, 911 begins receiving calls reporting the active shooter. Little do they know, Gregory is moments away from taking his actions to an explosive new level.
We have an active shooter in our Buffalo Allina clinic.
And where is the person?
In the clinic shooting.
And what kind of weapon do they have?
A gun. They're shooting.
A handgun?
They're shooting. I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of gunshots.
Yep.
The mother, who escaped just moments ago, also contacts the police with her own harrowing account.
There's a shooting. Somebody just left us and started shooting people.
Do you know where they are in the clinic?
No, I had my baby. I left.
Can you tell me if there's any injuries?
I don't know. I ran.
Okay, so you didn't see anybody injured?
I didn't, but I saw him shoot 4 times.
And did he shoot like pop like quickly, or was it one by one?
No, it was. He said, "Get down." So everyone got down. I know Tammy Schaffler was at the front desk and she checked me, and I hope to God she didn't get shot.
Investigators would later discover a home address for Gregory, which would lead them to a mobile home which was currently being rented. However, the renter mentioned the outside shed was still used by Gregory. After obtaining a search warrant, investigators located a handmade protest sign, a crate containing items that could be used for shrapnel, as well as a powder seized by the ATF. At the crime scene, as panicked 911 calls continue to flood in, another caller reaches dispatchers, but it's the last person they ever expected to hear on the other end of the line.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
Crossroads Clinic?
Yes. Tell me anything that you can about the party that's shooting.
I am.
You're shooting. Can you tell me what's going on?
I would send a lot of ambulances. We have some critical spine injuries.
Spine injuries? Sir, can you tell me, are you the one that's doing the shooting? Sir.
A bomb or two is going to go off.
A bomb or two is going to go off. Sir, are you the one that's doing this?
It just works pretty good.
Sir, are you the one that's doing this?
This is in the old office.
Though shocked by his call and confession, it's his next statement that truly leaves the dispatcher in disbelief.
Sir, can you talk to me? Are you the one?
Tell the police to back away a little bit.
Tell the police to back away?
I intend to surrender in a minute.
You intend to surrender in a minute? Nobody else is going to get hurt? Sir? Sir, you said that you're going to surrender?
Not responding to her questions, Gregory slips the phone into his pocket without ending the call. He'll soon continue speaking with the dispatcher, but not before executing the next step in his twisted plan. After retrieving a homemade bomb from his briefcase, he stops briefly to light the fuse before throwing it just outside the front doors. Seconds later, the device explodes, shattering the windows in a hail of shrapnel. Later on in the investigation, the Motel 8 hotel where Gregory had been recently staying would be evacuated and searched due to the fear there may be bombs in his hotel room. No additional explosives were located, but a search of his room uncovered 6 oxycodone pills and an empty can of Pringles, several empty boxes of ammunition, glue, hand tools, and a firearm manual matching the one used in the shooting. An interview with the motel owner revealed a conversation he had with Gregory the day prior to the incident. After offering to save him money by converting the nightly charges to a week, Gregory declined, citing ominously, "After tomorrow, my work will be done." Back at the scene, officers with the Buffalo Police Department have arrived and are keeping a safe distance from the clinic. Due to the threat Gregory poses, The officers must approach carefully or risk becoming victims themselves.
Hey, we could use a vehicle as a shield. The rolling shield with a vehicle. Nobody. We can use a vehicle as a rolling shield. I'll grab the car. You guys have long arms. Okay, jump passenger side? Yep, that's fine.
There's only one dude with a rifle. Okay, two.
Unlock the door.
As long as been notified, they are.
Unlock the door. Nope, give me a second.
Great.
I'm gonna go
Okay.
straight up. Ready? Yep.
The officers make
He's
their
in the
way
front
for
window.
the
You
front
should be able to
doors,
see 'em.
seemingly hopeful the car will
You got the
protect
right
them
op.
from whatever danger awaits them. They've yet to realize just how dire the situation is for victims still trapped inside, who are seconds away from another brutal attack. Gregory retrieves a second bomb from his briefcase before heading toward his next target. As he passes the patient still hiding behind the wall to his left, he delivers a chilling message of reassurance, which can be heard as the dispatcher continues to listen.
Just stay there. You'll be fine. Okay.
Sir,
You just let her walk out, so I guess
you're
that's
letting a lady out. The male party is letting a lady out.
Oh, shit.
That was just another, one of my last bombs.
Okay, so how many bombs did you have, sir?
Now I'm ready to surrender.
Okay.
The front vestibule.
Male party is in the front vestibule?
As many ambulances as you
Yes, ma'am. Sir, I need a description of you so they know it's you that want to surrender.
Yes, the blue shirt wants to surrender.
Blue shirt wants to surrender.
Give me instructions.
So I want you to lay down on your, I want you to lay on your stomach. Lay on your stomach.
Front of the vestibule.
Yep.
You want me to go outside?
I want you to lay on your stomach directly where you're at.
Oh, directly where I'm at. I'm on my stomach. I have a hard time. I'm crippled. Hold on. Okay.
Investigators would later review Gregory's medical history with the Alina Clinic and Buffalo Hospital. One chilling record, labeled homicidal risk, stated that Gregory had no plans to hurt anyone, but made a veiled threat, stating, "If I don't get results soon, I will have a target." As an arrest nears, the dispatcher urgently seeks confirmation that the approaching officers and victims are no longer at risk of further attacks. What she learns next will fill them all with bone-chilling dread.
How many bombs did you have altogether? 4. You had 4 bombs? Did they all go off?
Yes.
4 bombs and they all went off?
Well, 3 went off. 1 is in the briefcase.
Gregory insists 3 bombs detonated, but so far only 2 explosions have been witnessed. With 1 bomb lying ominously near the briefcase, a chilling question hangs in the air. Where is the 4th explosive? For now, statements provided by Dr. Andrew Bergdorf, the lead physician of the Alina Clinic, continue to shed light on Gregory's hostile past behavior. According to his statement on October 13, 2018, he contacted the police to inform them of a series of calls he received from Gregory who spoke of shooting, blowing things up, and practicing different scenarios of revenge. He stated Gregory wanted to make it big and sensational so that it makes an impact. Dr. Bergdorf feared Gregory was a hazard to himself and others, and as a result, he filed a restraining order and trespassed him from the Alina Clinic facility. The shocking reasons behind his threats will later be revealed by Gregory himself. In the meantime, as the dangers of an unexploded device hang over them, officers breach the building.
It's not really breaching the building, he just walked in the front door. Leave the room, god damn it.
Get up on here to clip.
Okay, where can I get in? Where can I get in?
Gun.
Gregory is now in custody. He'll soon unleash his resentments and reveal what drove him to aim solely at the clinic staff. For now, the officers must work to evacuate the building, But moving the critically injured
Yeah,
victims
just
will
grab it.
prove more than a challenge.
Oh yeah, just grab the bomb. No biggie.
I got your back, Andrew. It's just you and I.
What's he doing?
It's just you and I. Anybody back here?
Oh, just
Survivors.
Yeah.
Buffalo Police.
Leave it there.
Buffalo Police survivors. Buffalo Police. I got a voice. Buffalo Police. Okay, Buffalo Police, you guys are okay. Okay, we got the suspect. He's handcuffed. I'm going to bring you out. Come with me.
The other officers continue clearing the rooms, urgently guiding patients and staff to the exit, all the while unaware of the missing fourth explosive.
431 all units. I'm coming out with 2 survivors, non-injury. Come with me.
Evacuation continues to take priority. 59-year-old Tammy, with a gunshot wound to her stomach, is guided toward an ambulance. A wheelchair is used to bring 35-year-old medical assistant Jennifer to safety and will also be used to aid 32-year-old Antonia, who suffered a gunshot wound to the back.
Oh, shit.
The fifth and final gunshot victim, 37-year-old Lindsay Overbay, remained inside while first responders attempted CPR.
Or if that was the target.
Though surveillance footage was unable to capture it, an audio recording of the incident reveals the life-saving efforts of first responders.
Stay with me, Lindsay. Come on, Lindsay. We're ready on the back for you guys are, guys. Come on, Lindsay. Stay with me. Fight through this, Lindsay. Do you need us to carry her out? We can carry her out. We can carry her out. We have enough here. All right, let's carry her out.
Where's the
We got
EMS?
backboard here. Let's not even worry about backboard. Okay, so we gotta just go, guys. Go. Can you hear me? I got the hat. 1, 2, 3, go.
Life flight helicopters soon arrive, each transporting Sherry and Lindsay, while the others are transported by ambulance to local area hospitals. With the building now clear, police call the Minneapolis bomb squad,
about fucking
who successfully recover the device and take it away to be dismantled. Shockingly, it wasn't until after the surveillance footage was reviewed that they realized an additional unexploded pipe bomb remained in the building. They returned to the clinic, recovering the final device. With the lives of many Alina staff hanging in the balance, investigators demand answers from Gregory, who finally unveils his motive for the vicious assault. Gregory's grievances with the Alina Clinic and Buffalo Hospital began on December 8, 2016, 5 years before the attack. Gregory claims he had back surgery and was released from the hospital with pain medication. At one point, he admits to taking as many as 64 pain pills in 2 days.
Wow.
On December 29th, he claims he was tortured after his medication ran out. Paramedics then advised him to go see his doctor, Dr. Bergdorf, who Gregory blamed for all of this. He says he was then locked up and tortured. The evidence, he adds, is in his briefcase. After explaining his motives for the attack, Gregory leaves investigators with the final haunting claim that he is the worst victim, and he hopes that no one died. Unfortunately, while 4 of the victims survived the attack, 37-year-old Lindsay Overbay succumbed to her injuries at the hospital. Though Dr. Bergdorf may have been a target of Gregory's vengeance-fueled assault, he was working remotely that day and escaped harm.
Oh, damn.
67-year-old Gregory Paul Ulrich was charged with 1 count of first-degree premeditated murder, 4 counts of attempted first-degree murder, and discharge of an explosive device with gross disregard to life and property. On June 2, 2022, a jury found him guilty of all charges. Gregory was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He remains incarcerated at the Minnesota Department of Corrections in St. Paul, Minnesota.
What a shitbag. Oh, well, goddamn. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been about a little 14 minutes longer than I wanted to go. So, hope y'all learned a little something today about our future incoming President Trump's administration, some of his picks, and then some of the other shit. I really don't think I talked about anything else. But you know what? I'm not telling y'all not telling y'all how to think. I'm just telling y'all to think. And it's Saturday. I'm going to go spend time with the family since my wife's out of work. Oh, there was about an 8-hour thing that I was gonna watch. Was it 8 hours? On the Laken Riley murder. There's like a whole special. I just saw that this morning, so I'm gonna have to check it out later. I believe it did start. I think the first iteration was 8 hours. I have to double check. Don't take my word for that, but I'm pretty sure I saw the court already started. So I want to wait for some of that to break up, because I'm not going to sit there for 8 hours, because there's going to be a lot of fucking bullshit back and forth before they actually get to questioning and the evidence. But I'm not telling y'all how to think. I'm just telling y'all how to think. And I hope you enjoyed today's show, because, well, I did. I enjoyed it. And now I'm going to go do some Javi stuff.